Drongo is a very interesting carry in that he's bursty, and a lot of that burst come from his abilities. The abilities are even further interesting by a lot of them do actually basic damage. So with that said, I tried a caster deck. This is my carry deck that I simply had more success with. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my very first hero deck and guide here in version 42 with Drongo. So we have a Drongo carry, ladies and gentlemen, and let's go through this deck very quickly and get into the gameplay. Ruthless, multi-shot, piercing basic, relentless pursuit, quick exit, and auto shield. Call of the week, living guardian, outlander scout, taskmaster, nitro boost, sand speeder, guard piercer, overclock droid, hellfire engine, heavy hitter, shadow golem, and vampiric blade. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the very first ability probably will get most of the time first is rad rounds. Drongo loads uranium bullets that irradiate any target's hit for 2 seconds. Each time a target is hit, a stack is added and the duration is reset. After 10 seconds or various bullet stacks, the target takes basic damage for the stack's irradiation and partial basic damage for each less stack. So basically, whenever you hit a target with these loaded uranium bullets, they will take some burst damage after a time. However, the more you pump these bullets into your enemies, the more burst damage it'll take after some time. So you are definitely incentivized to hit one target with more rounds, or you can spread them out, I suppose, to help with lane clear. It's just that's not very effective. This is what makes him bursty. You use this ability on one target and then use his ultimate, perhaps, which we'll go over later, to kind of compound his effect. And he kind of has this, he goes in, he deals his damage, and then he goes out. Sustained damage, while he's certainly capable in the late game, really that's kind of not his thing. The next ability you probably want to get is Old Rusty, or his RMB bumper R1 ability. Drongo throws out a long-range boomerang that returns to him once it hits the world. That's a big one. I frequently forget that it hits terrain, or just travels 1,800 units. The boomerang does ability damage and applies a 175 movement speed slow for 1.5 seconds to enemies it hits, both on the way in and on the way out. A big thing you have to notice is that when you're aiming somewhere, it will go that way, and then if you aim somewhere else, the boomerang will actually go around and come back in the direction that you're aiming. So you can send it out one way, turn around, and it'll kind of sweep all the way around and come back whichever way. So you can kind of direct where it's going to kind of sweep across, just like a real boomerang. The damage here, not really too much, but the range is good, and that slow can be functional. So that is kind of what a part of his burst. You slow down a target, you use your rad rounds to help put those rounds on that target, and kind of secure that burst damage that he's capable of. Obviously, you can use Old Rusty in nice close quarters to hit multiple enemies and slow them, either to help peel for your allies, help peel for yourself, or just kind of slow a target to help you kill them. The next ability you want to probably get, or depending on, if there's a caster in the in your safe lane, an enemy caster, this is Gag Grenade. What happens is you toss a tear gas grenade that creates an area of silence for 3 seconds. Enemy heroes cannot use abilities while they are in this area. The mana cost is fairly significant, especially as a carry with a low mana pool, but the radius does increase the more you upgrade it. At max level, it's actually fairly substantial. That radius is actually pretty huge, but I usually honestly don't upgrade this till the very end. I do not upgrade this. I upgrade my rad rounds first, obviously your ultimate as much as possible, and then your right click, your Old Rusty, second priority. The cooldown is you have to use it smartly, and the range is actually pretty darn far. If you lob it, it is a lobbed ability. You can actually get it pretty darn far. So you can, if somebody is farther away and they're using an ability like this Narbash, you can lob it a fair distance and get some good silence off like that. Now, the last ability here is his ultimate Shrapnel Cannon. Drongo fires a conal blast of shrapnel from his bazooka that deals ability damage and basic armor shred to any one hit for 8 seconds. That blast will knock Drongo back in the opposite direction of where he is aiming and will hit his current enemy forward. So it's kind of it hits the enemy back and you back as well. So you kind of separate from each other. This ability is really quite cool because you can traverse terrain with it. If you've backed up against a ledge, like along the towers here, or around the raptors, or even around Or Prime, or the gold buff, where there's small ledges, you can actually jump, use your shrapnel cannon, and actually get boosted on top. And I've used that a few times to escape, do some pretty cool things, or just create separation, create space, especially from Countess. As you know, she can shadow slip onto you, and then you can use your shrapnel cannon to kind of send her away, use your gay grenade as a silence, and other things like that. The damage here is actually pretty darn good, and the armor shred is actually really substantial. So what you can certainly do is use your rad rounds on your target, and then use your shrapnel cannon to shred their basic armor for then rad rounds to explode and deal extra damage, which is what this Drongo just did to me just now. So shrapnel cannon, because it's on a fairly low cooldown, especially in level 2 and 3, actually use it quite a bit. Use it. You pump your enemy with rad rounds, quick shrapnel cannon to shred their armor before rad rounds explodes, and then boom. You can do some tremendous damage. Or Shrapnel Cannon, if you really want to, especially on somebody like Countess or Chimera that leaps onto you, start with the Shrapnel Cannon to shred their armor for all of your basics, and then it'll still be on because it shreds for 8 seconds. It'll still be on for your rad rounds and your old rusty, and of course will help against all of the damage that your allies are doing as well, because it is a shred. Now, the cards here in this early game, Call of the Week simply helps you with last hits. It executes minions under 20% health, and his basic damage isn't all that high, but really is very much effective as we're Death and Chaos. You then go into a Living Guardian, as that can actually be used in the offlane, and I had actually some great success with Drongo in the offlane, believe it or not. His burst, his combo with his ultimate, you can actually surprise people quite a bit in the offlane. I got quite a few kills. It actually honestly works, especially with his silence, and it is slow. Once you really get it, the offlane can work for Drongo. What the Living Guardian also does is gives you basic armor per basic attack. So once you're at 10 stacks, what you can do is actually harass your opposing offlaner, and because the minions will then aggro onto you, you'll actually take reduced damage from the minions and obviously the offlaner. Works tremendously well, Living Guardian, just because you're a bit weaker in the early game, and supports takes them a while to get Radiant Healer online, stuff like that, so you do have to take that into consideration. Next, we go into Nitro Boost. This simply gives you an attack speed, something you definitely need as a carry, but with movement speed, you can compound that with your slow, with your shrapnel cannon to be very elusive, and get back into lane very quickly. That quick exit gem will just keep you on the battlefield, keep you farming very, very effectively. The next one we went into is Sand Speeder. I chose to get this. You can also get Guard Piercer and other abilities like that. What I was getting a lot of pressure in my safe lane here. As you can see, our tower is down, and we've just been constant pressure. So that Sand Speeder will really help with movement speed. It gives you a flat 4% movement speed bonus and then there's 8% when you're out of combat. So just, you can run around, it gives you attack speed, just great. The burst is real. This Narbash was lazy backing, and you can see, watch the rad rounds, boom, there it is. That is the rad rounds. It has good potential. If you can pummel one target with rad rounds, there's some good damage. Now, the next card that I happen to get in this game is Heavy Hitter. I would actually suggest going for Guard Piercer instead of maybe that Sand Speeder, as the enemy Drongo actually beat me out on a 1v1. He had Guard Piercer, I didn't, because I was waiting for this Heavy Hitter, or just how this match went. Don't hesitate to get that earlier. As you can see here, while I do get taken out, I do take out the Countess from pummeling her with my rad rounds into my Shrapnel cannon with Heavy Hitter. That power and 15% basic damage synergizes very well with our rad rounds and everything. So definitely Heavy Hitter is a great card for Drongo. Here is Guard Piercer in action. Again, I should have gotten it earlier, and I would suggest you do the same. Here is a great example of a stun from my Belka. I use my Shrapnel cannon to finish her off, and then watch this tremendous damage there. You can see as it goes to town. Guard Piercer synergizes very well with his kit. He does a lot of basic damage through just his natural basic attack, his rad rounds, and from the shred from his ultimate, all compounds to make Guard Piercer a great card. We actually keep Guard Piercer in our final deck. The next card here is Overclocked Droid. It basically gives you power and attack speed, perfect, exactly what you want, but also an increased movement speed and attack speed bonus active that you can use while you're chasing people down, and kind of compound his elusive kind of 1v1 almost nature. What it also does is, because it's 4 agility and 2 vitality, it actually is a great first step towards Vampiric Blade, which is a big part of this deck. It's kind of the whole crux of it. Because we get the multi-shot gem, we're going to be life-stealing from those outside rounds, giving us tremendous sustainability while we are out on the battlefield. So Overclocked Droid, the perfect transition card from nothing to Vampiric Blade. Unfortunately, there's a replay bug. I do have Vampiric Blade now, and that power, attack speed, and that health actually enables him to be more of kind of a one. He's a very much almost like a duelist sort of nature that has great team fight synergy as well. That silence grenade, or his gay grenade works amazing. You know, in the right team comp, he works great. You can see my silence grenade, my gay grenade I use on that Narbash, as we are very much baiting this enemy team here, and you can see this damage is phenomenal. I tried to use my old Rusty there, but it hit terrain. What I was wanting to do was throw it out and then around the corner, but it didn't work because it would have to come back, so I couldn't get it around to the Morigesh, but my rad rounds took her out as she was just deleted at that point. So as you can see, there's a replay bug. We do have Vampiric Blade. Save that for the moment where the enemy thinks they can take you out. That is the whole thinking behind this deck with Drongo, is that you can entice people to get in an engagement with you, but really, you know, your rad rounds is going to explode. That's going to explode after you pummel them with rounds. So you want them to commit to an engagement. They think they'll win, but then you have your Vampiric Blade to super quickly regenerate health, like literally from 20% health to full in the blink of an eye. And shred them with your Shrapnel cannon for that rad rounds. You can very easily 1v1 a lot of people, and it's a great feeling with the silence grenade and your old Rusty. Really fun playstyle. Another key to this deck is the Relentless Pursuit gem at the tier 7 spot there in the agility tree. As you can see, I can just chase people down to no ends, and that just kind of feeds into everything. Unfortunately, she leads me right into the duo here, and I can't get Vampiric Blade off because of the Norbash stun and that silence grenade. I couldn't use my Vampiric Blade. I was really quite upset at this point, as I probably maybe could have used my silence grenade on that Narbash and have maybe won that 1v2, maybe. Another gem we should talk about is Relentless. The more damage that the lower the health of the enemy target, the more damage they take, increased basic damage, because our rad rounds and our basic attacks obviously deal basic damage. It basically is kind of like it synergizes well with rad rounds. You'll pummel them with basics, reducing their health, increasing the damage you deal, but then when rad rounds goes off, they'll be at low health, making that burst even better. So that is just phenomenal what it can do. You saw me use Vampiric Blade there to kind of survive from that Chimera and Countess, and we've upgraded our heavy hitter to Shatter Golem. What the Shatter Golem does is give us a lot of power, which synergizes well with all of his abilities. Attack speed, which is great, obviously. And watch me just kind of totally destroy this Narbash there. You can see there. And of course, I don't have my Vampiric Blade, which is the crux of this whole thing. I do, you know, they don't get Or Prime, but I should have played it smart and waited for that Vampiric Blade. This is a wonderful engagement. It shows kind of what this deck's all about. The Shatter Golem giving me 20% chance to deal 100% damage. I take some damage. You can see I was at about 1/3 health. I proc Vampiric Blade and totally outsustain the Alchemy, Sacred Alchemy Shields build from the enemy Drongo there. Compounded with the multi-shot, with the Relentless Pursuit, I was totally able to out-DPS him. It was just fantastic. Great showcase of this deck. And then, to close off this game, we get Hellfire Engine. So what you do is you'll have just enough, you'll be super close to the tier 2 Vitality gem. We don't have a gem in it, but what it does is it gives us 4.5 power. As you can see, I totally melt the Drongo, and I totally mitigate that burst from the Countess and go on to get the Narbash. I think this is my triple kill. Oh, triple kill here after this, after I take down this Morgesh. As you can see, just deleting people left, right, and center. So yes, you get that tier 2 Vitality because it gives you 4.9 power, and I think that's worth it. After that, don't get any more attribute points. Save up for Hellfire Engine. Hellfire Engine, replace your Guard Piercer with Hellfire Engine, as I think. Overall, it's a damage increase and DPS increase. Obviously, 100 basic damage is tremendous, and as you can see, synergizes with Vampiric Blade and Shatter Golem. So, guys, absolutely tremendous. I've been really liking Drongo, even though I was a bit rough. I tried him in the mid lane, didn't really work. Tried him in the off lane, or with a caster deck, didn't really work. Tried him in the safe lane as caster deck, didn't really work. It comes online when you get OPD Militia, but that's really far down. He's a very late game, very late game deck. Doesn't really work. This carry deck in the safe lane works really well, as you can see, but even as in the off lane, I still had very good success. So there you guys go. This is my Drongo deck and guide. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think. Please like this video if you liked it, dislike it if you dislike it, share it with the community, and of course, guys, subscribe. If you'd like to support me in what I do here on the channel, then head on over to my Patreon account where you can make a monthly pledge to help me do what I love. My Amazon affiliate link is also in the video description, where any shopping you do supports me in the channel while not adding any cost to you whatsoever. You can also check out my Discord server link if you'd like to join a fun and respectful Paragon community, and also visit my own website and merchandise store, where you can pick up a shirt just like this and support the Global Education Fund charity. And like always, guys, stay optimistic and positive.